Hi, everybody. How are you doing? It's been such a long time. Actually, it's not been that long a time because it's just been a week. Last week, we had an amazing session with four instrumental musicians who spoke about how they were able to commercialize their art and how were they actually, managing to keep themselves active even during this whole pandemic phase. But today, I have a duo who I don't think have had any reason to stop, whether it's a pandemic or anything. And I'm super, super excited to actually announce who they are because we're talking about nobody but Salim Merchant and Suleiman Merchant. Hi.
Hi,
How are you?
Samini. How are you doing?
I am doing super cool. I'm a little nervous to have you guys because you guys are amazing. So it's I feel like I'm dreaming to actually have the two of you on something that I'm just trying to do a little. Literally, I'm trying to make it myself with this forum, but yeah, I think it was very important to have you guys on board because what you're doing with Merchant Records is actually, I think, it's the epitome of make it myself. I want to,
Kind of.
start with the question. I mean, even before we go anywhere else, why would musicians look at creating a record label?
Well,
Okay. Go on, Salim. You say it, then I'll say it.
so many. First of all, before we both say anything, you must ask one of us the questions. Otherwise, we both will answer. And
No, fair enough. Fair enough. But I think this is a question that both of you need to answer because it is Merchant's record. So, I mean, it's both of you guys together who have come together to make this. So, uh, we'll start with the younger one because I'm sure Salim has always been very proactive and energy driven. So yeah, let's start with you, Salim.
this is something which we dreamt of for the last 3 years. You know very well that we've been releasing music
Right,
for the past 7 years, which is non-film music. We've been releasing it very regularly, and especially the occasions of the celebrations of Eid and Holi and Diwali, and these occasions we sometimes
right,
mark singles according to these calendar dates, and
right,
and then some songs in between. We all as and when we feel like when the festive season comes in, we kick in a dance song or something like that. So we've been making non-film
oh,
music for a while now, since
for a while.
2014,
Yeah,
and I remember Allahu Akbar, this Eid special released on Artist Allowed.
yes,
That was one of our first singles, and
yes,
which was out of the film space, and it was really satisfying. And we've been getting a lot of love for all this non-film music that we made. So 3 years
right.
ago, Sulaiman and I thought we'll structure it properly and we'll like launch a label where it's
Hmm,
not just for us, but it's not just Salim Sulaiman's music, but it's music that we believe in, artists
right,
that we want to produce, artists that we want, some new, some really well established, bring
right,
out songs that we believe in, and bring out
right,
pieces of music without any creative boundaries, like without any, like without any kind of creative ceiling. It
right,
could be thumri, it could be ghazals, it could be
right,
classical, it could be folk, it could be hip hop, it could have any kind of genre.
right,
And because our film repertoire also has had a diverse repertoire, from Shukran Allah to Evi Evi to Chak De to Ashaye to Ye Hosla, from
right,
movies like Fashion to like Door and everything in between.
right,
So it's been quite diverse, and we've always believed in creating music that has diversity, and it has a lot of layers. And
right,
3 years went by. We've been planning this, like every. We said, okay, now we're going to launch it. Now we're going to launch it. Now we're going to launch it. Something or
right,
the other. I mean, primarily our tours, our live gigs, and our constant traveling,
right,
stopped us from not having to spend enough time in Bombay to structure this
right,
label and put it out. And then the lockdown started, and 3 years just flew past. Like in 2017, I
right,
remember we did a single with, no, in 2014, we did a single with Farhan Akhtar, and it was
Okay.
called Chule Aashma.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes. I remember that.
and,
Yeah.
and after that, and we were wondering what label should we release it on, and I briefly met. I met a lot of people at that time. We were working with Magic Bus. We were working
Right.
with Anurag, and Anurag.
Right.
So he brought in a lot of partners, and he was like, we were thinking, and at that point, I felt like we should have had a label. We should have
Right.
by now launched our label. And since
Right.
then, we've been doing, but never really structured. The streaming business had just started kicking in. Everything was just like on the sort of on the border.
Right.
So yeah, we took a little while, and then this lockdown started in 2020, and then we were like, okay, now we have time,
Yeah.
and we had so many songs, we had so much to do. We have a
Right.
massive project that is releasing in November, and
Right.
Suleiman will tell you about it. But
Right.
that's it. It was all cooking, which we had to just sort of serve for ourselves and for the world.
But tell me this, Suleiman. I mean, when you think about making your own label, today there are a lot of artists who are doing their own thing. They have aggregators that they can go to and, put out their music. How different is it being an independent artist and being an artist who, has launched a label? I mean, how are you seeing, and do you see yourself competing with players like the Universals and the Sonys and the TCBs?
Oh, absolutely not. That's not the point behind opening a label. The idea
Okay.
of having a label is to be able to invite other uh, musicians, composers, singers
Right.
to come collaborate with us under a proper structure instead
Right.
of doing it, haphazardly where okay, we've collaborated and we've done it. Now what? So you go to an
Right.
aggregator and you tell them, okay, Hangama Artist Allowed, please release my music. So
Right.
you're coming as an individual versus coming with a label structure makes a huge difference because
Right.
people look at you in a different way. There is a complete structure in terms of management of deliveries, management of everything.
Right.
There's a complete structure that is required when you want to run it as a professional organization.
Yeah.
And we felt that this was the right move.
Hmm.
It's very important to have a label that caters to people who don't have a label. Like
True.
we released a song with Vijay Prakash and Tapas Relia, collaborating with their kids, and I
Okay.
don't think I don't think they would have had the kind of exit
The
or
freedom.
input or
Right.
not even the structure behind it. So we helped them create a video. It was shot in my house because it was COVID and we were still scared about the infections, and so
Right.
we got the director on board. We made sure that he came in and he gave his inputs, and so getting everything together under the umbrella of Merchant Records. And we've been doing
Right.
that with a lot of other artists. It's not just one artist that we are working with. We are working with a whole lot of artists. Also, we are coming out with a brand new album called Bhumi 2020, which
Nice.
is something that we've
Okay. I think we lost you.
I think
sorry.
he had a call.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So, we were doing we did Bhumi in 1999, and
Okay.
it was a collection of folk songs from all over India, and released it with merchant with EMI at that point.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Virgin Records.
we were,
Virgin Records.
with Virgin Records, and then now after that they became EMI. So, we did all of that, and it was such a well appreciated album. And we always
Sure.
wanted to do something like that, but 20 years later is when we found
Right.
the time to actually
Right.
do a sequel to Bhumi. So Bhumi 2020 was coming out, and we knew that it had to be under a proper structured umbrella. Otherwise, it
Right.
would just be all over the place. And So Merchant Records has been on the cards for a long time. It's just that once the pandemic came and we were all under lockdown, just gave us more
Right.
time and more energies to be able to give it the required love, the paperwork, and getting artists together and getting everything together is what happened in this lockdown.
So tell me something. In the good old days, Salim, when you had your Crescendo and your Magnus Sound and all of these labels, their job was to actually kind of discover a new talent, sign them on, actually put money behind them, and of course, I mean, I do understand those were very different times. You had labels actually talking to each other and spacing out their releases, which is very tough. Do you see yourself as a label actually playing that kind of role today? I mean, do you see yourself investing into these artists, or how have you planned your structure?
Absolutely, so many. So just to give you a little idea, um, first of all, like Suleiman spoke about Tapas and Vijay. Vijay and Tapas are
Mhm.
very established artists. They are
Right.
established artists, composers, and they don't need any. They didn't need merchant records. They could have released this song on any label. But when we released this label, Vijay called me one day and he sent me this song and he said, "Salim, yaar, I want to release this song on your label." So
Okay.
I asked myself first, then why us? And
Huh.
secondly, I asked. He said, "No, yaar, bas I feel like you guys are a." And it's funny that he said this because it was just the day we announced our label. The next week he sent me the song and he said like, I think your label will be one place which will have a community of creative artists to come together
Mhm.
without any ceiling, and that was exactly our mission.
Right.
We didn't have any we don't have any creative and there was not a single suggestion to Vijay. Song was in Swahili and Hindi
Hmm.
and English
Okay.
as well.
Okay.
So the Hindi part was it had classical and folk elements. The
Hmm.
Swahili was obviously very Swahili. It had world elements, and then English was very pop rock. So
Hmm.
it was a mixed genre song. It had so many flavors, and it had their daughters collaborating. So we decided September 27th was Daughters Day, so we decided to release it on Daughters Day on 26th.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I heard the song in June,
Okay.
but we decided to release it in September, and so we
Right.
waited. And Suleiman place was available, so we shot it in his house and stuff like that. Now, your
Right.
question is: are you looking at yourself as an AR, as an A&R
Right.
machine vehicle?
A&R.
Absolutely, yes. I had started a thing called Monday Mehfil
Okay.
sometime back, and I have discovered about. So I did Monday Mehfil twice, and I've discovered about 6 to 7 incredible artists on Instagram. Monday
Okay.
Mehfil was an Instagram live thing which I started every
Hmm.
Monday,
Hmm.
and I did it twice, and I discovered like 5 to 6 incredible artists. Two of
Right.
them
Right.
I'm working with right now. Two
Okay.
of them are their songs are being produced right now as we speak. Actually, it's like
Okay.
open right now,
Okay.
and five of these artists collaborated together
Hmm.
to reinvent the national anthem, sort of arrange the national anthem. And five of these beautiful artists, supervised by two very young, talented composers called Nikhil Swapnil, came out with a
Okay.
version of Gun Gun Man on 15th of August, and they
Okay.
wanted to release it on Merchant Records, and we just straight away said a big yes to them.
Right.
First of all, we love our country. We are big patriots, and we always do something for 15th August.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that year, Merchant Records or Salim-Sulaiman had nothing, no content for 15th August. And on 3rd of August, I got a call from Nikhil, who's again discovered on Nikhil was again discovered on Monday Mahfil, and he kept in
Okay.
touch with me like that. And he said, "Sir, Swapnil and me are two composers. We are students at Whistling Woods, which is
Okay.
the school.
Yeah.
And but now we are in our hometowns, and we've done this version of Jan Gan Man, which is actually based on the same arrangement as Salim-Sulaiman's arrangement of Jan Gan Man in 2010. We did in 2010 we did a Jan Gan Man version, which had Sonu Nigam and Shreya and Sunidhi and Shan and a lot of contemporary artists, and he said that, so Nikhil told me that, sir, we have a Jan Gan Man which is based on your arrangement, and we have these 5 incredible artists who apparently I had discovered in Monday Mehfil on my Instagram, and and we want to release this on Merchant Records. I'm like, let's do it. And then we put in some muscle on our video, on their video, and we put in some kind of energies, trying to structure the video. Got some, some packaging done, some marketing done, etc., 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 which a label should do and does. And so we got, we have a small team, very very small team, of 3-4 really enthusiastic, artists / music record label executives, and we sort of put this structure together, and we released Jan Gan Man by Nikhil Swapnil, featuring these 5 incredible artists: Kabir Singh, what's his name, Keshav Tiwar, Hansika Parekh, and Pratiksha Srivastav, and Harshit, who's this amazing flautist. So these 5 artists and Nikhil Swapnil had redone it, and now we are doing 3 new artists who are brand new. They have no musical background. They have no my bap, like no sort of guardian in the music industry. But what they have is pure talent, and we are actually producing their 3 songs, and which is going to come.
No, it's amazing to hear that, because, I think especially, there was a time when you had a lot of these artists who were coming out of reality shows, and you'd always wonder what's going to happen to them. And some of them are brilliant singers. I think that's another great pool to look at, and, actually give them the kind of support that you guys are looking at. Tell me something, Sulaiman. Like Sunny mentioned, you're thinking of doing this over the past 3 years, and in some form or the other, the lockdown actually came, as a saving grace, gave you an opportunity to actually kind of, steer your attention towards it. But how do you see this kind of evolve, both from a commercial perspective as well as, in terms of, is it what's your strategy to actually discover talent? How do you do that? Like, one is, of course, the Monday Mehfil that Salim's doing. But is that, has there been a thought on that?
So, they say, जहाँ पे लक्ष्मी होती है, वहाँ पे सरस्वती नहीं होती है. Right? So you cannot, at the moment, you cannot start thinking about money.
Fair enough.
First, you have to create a label. You have to first do stuff that actually comes out. And I believe at some point, it'll start paying for itself.
Sure.
But for us, more than anything, more than it paying for itself, it's more important for us to be able to have all these various beautiful artists under the umbrella, making sure that we get content which has some meat. And after that, we'll see. There's lots of time after that, really. Money is not a strategy behind creating.
Sure, fair enough. But how are you looking out for these artists? How do they come to you? Obviously, I'm sure.
Somebody, I'm going to answer that question. We don't have to look out for these artists. These artists are constantly DMing us, constantly DMing me, constantly DMing Merchant Records. There's so much talent in our country. It's unbelievable. There are some great singers, great composers who have they've been messaging us on our email addresses, merchantrecordsmusic@gmail.com, and we get a lot of emails every day. I personally get a lot of DMs on my Instagram. I personally get a lot of DMs on my Facebook, and I also get a lot of emails, which the email that is connected to my Instagram. And Merchant Records is constantly getting messages, so there is no need for us to look at talent. Talent is anyway looking at the label. the talent knows that there is this labor that is by the artist and for the artist. It is a labor. I'm not just
Right.
saying it for a fact. You will see this in the forthcoming months, and
Right.
I mean, we've already done that we've already done that on 15th of August, where we try to sort of get a
Right.
collective of these beautiful artists come together and do our national anthem. And
Right.
now it's time to do these individual singles with all these talented guys, and we are doing that one after the other.
Right. Right.
It's all in the pipeline. It's empowering new singers, empowering new talented composers, writers, a beautiful
Right.
creative community to come together
Okay.
and make music without any kind of, but the music, the quality of music has to be really, like superb.
Of course.
It has to be amazing. And we are very, very open to like commercial music. We are very open to artistic vibes. We are very open to any kind of like genre, be it thumri, classical, fusion. We get
Right.
so many demos every day on our email. It's becoming a little difficult to filter, go through all of them, but we do
Right.
that. We do that. Like,
Right.
every day we listen to 10 songs, and so you can imagine how many emails we're getting. It's crazy. So
That's
a little
amazing.
delayed responses. We used to earlier respond every 2 days. Now the responses are happening every like 7 days later, 5 days later, 7 days later. So it's
Right.
taking a little time. But we are going through we are like going through every single email. So yeah, time is really this thing. But I coming back to the talking about the money part of it, the business part of it. So many, it's something that right now is
Mm.
not. Right now we are investing a lot of money of our own
Sure.
in,
Sure. Yeah.
and it is something that it is something that is kind of making us feel great, because it's sometimes when you start spending money on something that you feel like you don't know what's going to happen, then you are worried. But we are not investors. We are
Right.
actual composers. We are actual musicians and artists who believe
Right.
in music. And for us, instead of investing in stock market, instead of investing in apartments, buying shops, buying this, I'd rather invest in our own profession, in our own art, in our own industry, and be the change.
Right.
Be the change that we want in this industry. A lot of people keep saying, "अरे कब change होगा? कब scene change होगा? कभी music अच्छा होगा?" It's all talk.
It's
Be
all
that
talk.
change.
Yeah.
Be
Yeah.
that change.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Put your
Be the
money where
change.
your mouth is. And that we
Correct.
are exactly doing that. It's
Yeah.
hurting us a little bit, but it's giving us a lot of joy as well. So,
So
uh,
tell me this, this is a question. I mean, again, going back to the days where initially when record labels used to sign up artists, their recovery was going to be largely through cassettes and CD sales. And of course, when they started seeing that the artists were making money through shows, there was a scenario of, okay, let's look at 30% or 20% coming from the shows and we'll invest. Uh,
I'm
has
not.
there been
I'm not even going to let you complete this question. We have none of that stuff.
We
We have
haven't.
none
We
of
have none of that, really.
we have none
right?
of that stuff. Like
No,
no
no,
artist
no, no.
comes.
So my question, okay, my question.
We don't sign artists. Okay, now we're going to bleed into your live
No, no,
revenue.
no,
We're
no,
going to
no.
bleed
Yeah,
your endorsements. None of that stuff. No.
right. No, my question was more on the lines of, do you see an opportunity for these artists to be able to, especially since you're saying a lot of them are new talent. And we all know that the place for an artist to really make money is shows, so. I mean, of course, the pandemic has created a huge shakeup, across the board. But do you see yourself helping artists to be able to, and I'll kind of ask Sulaiman this question, that do you see yourself actually playing a role in helping these artists, kind of be able to build their, careers commercially, besides just a creative output?
Oh, definitely. This is the vehicle, you know.
Right?
A song release is a vehicle, and the final destination is live gigs, of course.
Sure.
You
Sure.
you cannot make money off just songs Well, at least not
Right.
now. I'm sure
Right.
there will be a time when you will be able to sustain with just releasing songs and being happy. Those days where see 100,000, well, not a million cassettes and CDs and sales, people used to say, "Arey, era in a different genre." That was the time when people used to go nuts saying, "Arey, this one album has gone 1 crore," and they used to have
Right.
parties and celebrate. That's not happening
Right.
anymore. You might get
Yeah.
into like 10 million real streams. I'm talking about real streams, not the paid
Yeah.
streams. You might
Yeah.
get 10 million streams real, and you would say like, okay, how much money did I make? Really nothing. So so we are maturing. The
Yeah.
industry is maturing and coming to terms with the fact that, okay, listen, we have XYZ places where you can collect your sources of revenue. These are your things, these are your places, and it's growing. So
Right.
the ultimate goal has to be a concert with that's where an artist can make money. And these vehicles are beautiful because we are trying to make these vehicles in such a way, all the albums that we're doing, all the songs that we're doing, we're giving it justice, making sure that a really good video comes out,
Right.
marketed well, pressed into proper channels, talking to people like you and saying, hey, yeah,
Right.
attention. All of those things actually make a huge difference because that's what is going to get the eyeballs for all the artists. And that
Right.
I think is what the muscle brings for you when you have a record label
Right.
versus going as an individual artist and saying, hey, listen, my song, can you play it?
Correct. Yeah.
There's a
No.
big difference when you
Right.
go as a label and
Right.
you've established one connection. You only need that one connection for all your artists, not all
Absolutely.
artists getting their individual connections.
Right.
So
But do you see, I mean, we've seen how today, just in the last 3 years, Bollywood music has kind of gone a little in the back foot, and you're suddenly seeing a lot of the record labels also releasing, I mean, regional music has become really big. You have, Sony and TCDs and all of these labels doing stuff. Do you, for any reason, feel that, they should be worried about you guys?
Not really, yeah, so many. They are sitting
No?
on like whatever 150 million subscribers on YouTube, and they're sitting on so much of such a wide audience. Um, More than that, they're sitting on like whatever 5,000 crore capital, and so it's not like we are a boutique label. We are a
Mm.
label that is promoting good music, and I mean, good music can be commercial also, of course.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's not something that we there's no competition out here. Like they should not be worried about us. In fact, I would be doing something, and I would be doing something with them.
Mm.
Music should be a very, very collaborative vibe.
Right.
And this is
Right.
something what I want to say is very, very important, Somini. A lot
Mm.
of the artists have started their own labels. Okay?
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
now, for instance, we've done a track with Raftar, just letting you know, which is releasing in this month itself, in November. And
Okay.
Raftar's new song, it was composed, it was structured by him.
Mm.
And he called me, and he's a very dear friend of mine, and he said, uh, भैया इसमें एक मतलब आपकी आवाज चाहिए इसमें कुछ आपके साथ करना है. So I said, okay, cool. And he wrote a couplet for me, and I composed that couplet, and I sang it, and we produced it, and we recorded an orchestra in Budapest, and he gave me the song. I took it to town. We went
Mm.
and we made it like an epic hip hop orchestral song right now. Okay.
Right.
And
Right.
I just called him and I said, look, this is what we've done. So he was so emotional, and he said, you know what, bhaiya? I said, look, you can release it on Kalamkar, which is his label, or
Hmm.
release it on Sony because he's signed up with Sony. Or if you want, we can release it on Merchant Records. It doesn't matter. And
Yeah.
he's like, the spirit was so beautiful. He said, like, bhaiya, aapko jo karna hai, because you've taken the song to the next level.
How
So it's
sweet.
your. I said, look, but the song started from you. You are the
Yeah.
actual creator of it. I
Right.
just collaborated with you, and of course, I structured it, I composed all it. But he said, no, I wanted to. Similar thing happened with Ricky Cage. So now
Yes.
that song will release on Merchant Records.
Right.
It-
Right. That
and
was a
we were
beautiful
very
song.
open, we were
Yeah.
very open that it released on Kalamkar also. But
Right.
it just so happens. And like that is something, that spirit of collaboration is very important. And
Right.
that is something we need to learn. Oh, I'm a Sony artist. Oh, I'm a T series artist. Oh, I'm a Z artist. That stuff is going to break us. If we
No,
collaborate in
yeah.
collaborative spaces, like we've released content on our YouTube channel, which
Right.
are live performances, which are live, elements,
Right.
and Sony or T owns the recording of it, and so
Right.
we've taken permissions from them, and we are sort of jointly, having a sort of an understanding, and that is very important. That is
Yeah.
very important. To have a collaborative spirit between
Yeah.
artists. That is very,
No,
very
in fact,
important.
I mean, I have to give an example of an artist that we released in January 2019. And I mean, everybody knows him, Emiwe Bantai. He had such a huge YouTube following, but that one song, Machayenge, catapulted to such a level. It's we've never seen streams for one song for 6 months. And till date, we still see numbers. And of course, he's been an artist who's been putting out content, literally almost every month, new stuff. So a song can suddenly also change the entire, I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So,
Like, I mean, we've just done this new song with Carrie Minati, and
yeah.
yeah, and a lot of people, like, like, asked me this question, that why him, and why, why this guy? And I mean, again, I'd called Raftar. When we wrote this song, when we did this Punjabi, it's a typical fun Punjabi festive song, and we wanted a tadka of rap in it. Like, I wanted somebody who could really give me that North Indian flavor, right?
Right.
And I just called Raftar and I told him, look, buddy, you don't have to do this with us.
Hmm.
You can suggest somebody. He said, sir, aap Carrie ke saath kaam karo. Carrie Minati.
Okay.
So I thought, he's a YouTuber, right? I mean, how is he? He said, no, he's a rapper. He's a very good rapper. You at least try him out. So we reached out to him, and Carrie was very cool. He said, sir, main koshish karta hu. And he gave me a sample, and I loved it. I played it to
Right.
Sulaiman. We both
Right.
loved it.
Right.
And I was like, people have this crazy perception of this guy is X, and this guy is,
Right.
and this guy is an influencer, and this guy is a YouTuber, and this guy is a. I mean, everyone is an artist ultimately at the end of it. If
That
you
is
stop
true.
having these barriers that ये वो करता है, ये roast करता है, ये ऐसा करता है, वो ऐसा करता है. I mean, our label is very, very open for
Right.
the creative community to come together and do whatever without any kind of, sort of barriers. And that's what music is all about, having no
What I
barriers.
really love is when I look at all of you, and your peers. You look at Shankar Mahadevan, who's built the music school. You have Shan, who is also kind of teaching music, and he's got Happydemic with his wife. You guys are building. I mean, it's superb to see how each one of you is literally taking the baton and taking it forward. It's like literally pay it forward in one sense, and I
So,
see what
and
Pankaj,
it's
who's
important
yeah.
to give it back to society. That's important. Knowledge is something you got to give it back. Opportunities, you got to give it back to young talent and to young me. Yeah. Sorry.
No,
Sulaiman,
I was just like with Pankaj ji, what we've been doing in the ghazal space. I think it's just it's so lovely that all of you have been so open about new talent. This was not what I mean. I was in Channel V when we used to interact with artists, and of course those were the days when indie pop scene is huge. But I think
Absolutely.
the open armed approach that you guys are showing in the current decade is very hopeful for a lot of talent, especially for the fact that we saw this whole barrage of reality shows, and now we're seeing players like you actually giving the next phase for true talent, which
So,
is super.
Swamini, the difference here is that besides being a record label, our primary love is the music, and we are
Right,
producers as well as composers.
right,
So we understand what works in a particular song. We know
right,
what we can do to make a song a hit song or a
right,
good song to
right,
become a hit song. So we know
right.
all those things, and being an artist who, or a couple of artists who actually understand music instead
Yeah,
of understanding somebody's social standing on Instagram or YouTube. We
right,
do understand the value of music by
right,
itself, and we are not shying away from taking good songs
right.
and putting them out because they deserve that kind of respect and standing. And that is the
So,
difference between a conventional record label who will say, "Boss, इसके अंदर से मेरा पैसा कितना निकलेगा वो बता," versus
yeah.
us saying that, "Hey, ये गाना कितना चलेगा वो साइड पे रखते हैं, ये गाना कितना अच्छा है वो बहुत
Right.
important है."
Yeah. Tell me, you also did something very innovative this time when you released a new song, which was in a game. How did that come about? And if I'm not mistaken, Jonita has sung in that song, right?
No, that's Nikita Gandhi, not
Nikita
Janita.
Gandhi. Yes. Sorry. Yes, Nikita Gandhi. Right.
So, it was lockdown. We were in lockdown. We wanted to we had this song. We had done it some time back.
Right.
And we had the time, so we started producing the song, and song was ready. Now we wanted to take it out, but we didn't know how to shoot it. And so
Right.
we said, because we had our own studio, which we knew was COVID free and it was sanitized and everything was fine.
Right.
They said, how do we work out a song which doesn't require us to go outdoors or to a shooting floor? So we said, let's do a song with the Apple technology, which is the Memojis.
Okay.
And so we created those two characters called Addy and Ada in
Right.
Salim's phone and my phone.
Okay.
And that's
Wow.
how we shot the whole thing. We shot the whole thing in our studio.
Wow.
See, it's also that whole innovative idea, right? When you look
Right.
at it, you feel wow. And
Yeah.
it was actually a very cool thought to be able to use technology which you have
Yeah.
to avoid going out into the open and going into a COVID scenario and pandemic, and you don't know,
Correct.
you can't go outdoors and wear a mask and all of that.
Right.
So
Right.
that's how we shot the video. We shot it in a studio, and it turned out to be so cool that when I was talking to your CEO Neeraj and his wife Ronak, who happens to be my sister-in-law, she said, "Hey, why don't we make this into a game?"
Right.
And
Right.
that's where it started from there. And you guys have come out with the game.
Yeah.
I got so addicted at one point I had to
Yeah.
remove it from my phone because it was just I was not being able to do any work. I was just playing that game. It was so
Yeah.
addictive.
No, it is. It
And
is very.
it's a beautiful platform because it doesn't require you to download anything and install
Correct.
anything. It's
Correct.
on. You can just send an SMS and it just comes through. It's so simple.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the beauty, and I see this, especially the way you guys have been evolving the whole label route. You're not limiting it only to music and talent. You're bringing technology, you're bringing innovative ways of putting it out, because that's the requirement, right? You need to be a clutter breaker. I just want to ask one last question, and this is, to both of you. What does "Make It Myself" mean to you?
See, when you're down and when you don't know where to go and what to do, it's brilliant to be able to make it yourself.
You don't have to rely on anybody. You don't have to go to anybody and say, "Ke bhai, ye kar de mere liye, ye kar de mere liye." You just
Right.
make it on your own, man. This is and it really feels great when you make it on your own and you make it there.
Right.
And you feel proud of the fact that, hey, listen, we did this on our own and we did this by ourselves.
Absolutely. Salim, how about you? How would you define Make It Myself? You're on mute. You're on mute. Yeah.
I have a very philosophical explanation,
Okay.
and but at the same time, I do believe that this is the reality, and I feel like all the problems in this world, the solution to all these problems lie within you. All your questions, which you have, all the answers lie within you. Only if you make an effort to reflect upon it and understand, you can make it yourself. You can do it yourself. Everything. And I mean, this is I mean, there are so many, sort of all the faiths teach you. I realized that, like, like Hazrat Ali, who's a imam in the Muslim world, it's his kalam that all the bad things, all the problems of the universe, the remedy to all of that lies within you. The entire universe lies within you. And during Dashera just passed by, I was getting so many messages that kill the Ravana in you. Kill the Ravana in you. There are 10 crazy bad things, which is jealousy, greed,
We know
and,
the 10.
anger, anger, so many different, like 10 different bad things which humanity has. We all have that. Human beings cursed. But the answers lie within us as well. We have to just sort of make it ourselves, make it myself.
Absolutely.
You have to,
Thank you
and
so
if you have that vision and if you have the belief, you
Yes.
can absolutely make it yourself. Nothing should stop you.
And I, as I said at the beginning, I think, Merchant Records to me is the epitome of Make It Myself. And I wish you all the best. And of course, in our journey of meeting artists, we would be more than happy to kind of guide them towards you and, get them to get your musical, inputs. Because seriously, I think
Vice versa, by the way. We'd like to do the same with you.
Sure. Sounds good. But thank you so much and have a great night and stay safe.
You too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.